Hey guys, this is Rachel from Cypress Textiles, and today we're going to make the Forget-Me-Not motif from the 2024 VVCAL. So I'm just going to get right started with a slip knot on my hook, and then I'm going to chain 3 and slip stitch in the 3rd chain from the hook to make a ring, and you can do a magic ring or magic circle as well. And I'm going to make a center that, if you've been following the crochet along, it should be very familiar to you. So straight into the center ring, I'm going to make a beginning 2DC cluster. So I'm going to go straight into the ring with a single crochet, no chaining up, and then chain 1, and then a double crochet, and that's going to be the first 2DC cluster of the round, just like that. And then I'm going to chain 2, and this is the center of the plain hexes, so they should be very familiar. I'm going to work a 2DC cluster, and then chain 2, and that's going to be my repeat 2DC cluster, chain 2 until I have 6 2DC clusters and 6 chain spaces. All right, so here's my round 1, and I'm just going to join with a slip stitch in the beginning 2DC cluster, just like this. I'm going to insert my hook in these 2 bars at the front and then just make my slip stitch. All right, and that's my first round complete. And my next round is also going to have some clusters and some chain spaces. So I'm going to make a 5 DC cluster. So I'm going to go straight into the chain space with a single crochet, chain 1, and this is going to be my beginning 5 DC cluster. So I've made a beginning DC, and now essentially I'm going to make a 4 DC cluster to go along with this beginning DC, and that's going to be the first 5 DC cluster of the round. So just yarn over, insert your hook, and pull up a loop. Draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook, and there we have that. And I'm going to repeat that 3 more times until I have 5 loops on my hook. All right, so now I have 5 loops on my hook, and I'm just going to draw the yarn through all the loops to close my beginning 5 DC cluster. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to chain 6. And then in the next chain space, I'm just going to make a regular 5 DC cluster. And then this time I'm going to have 6 loops on my hook because I'm leading in with a loop from the chain there, which I didn't have with the beginning one. So this time I'll have 6 loops, and I'm going to draw the yarn through all the loops. And that's my 5 DC cluster. And I'm just going to work a repeat of chain 6, 5 DC cluster in the next chain space until I have 6 clusters and 6 chain spaces. Okay, so my second round is now complete except for the joining. I just wanted to show you that I join into this larger cluster just by going through all the loops that I initially had on my hook before I closed my cluster. So I'm just going to put the hook back through all those loops and then make my slip stitch. And I just feel like that makes for a more natural looking cluster so that it looks like all the rest of them. Okay, so there we go. My second round's complete, and I'm ready to work into this chain space for round 3. So round 3 is going to be the most challenging round of this motif. I'm going to start with a beginning popcorn. So I'm going to go straight into the chain space with a single crochet, no chaining up, and a chain 1, and then 3 double crochet. And if your stitches are kind of spread out across the chain space, you need to gather them all together at the left because we're going to do a lot more in this chain space. And also, if you closed your popcorn right now, it would be a little awkward because it's too spread out. So just shove all your stitches over to the side, and now you're ready to release the loop from the hook. Insert your hook front to back through the chain of the beginning DC, and then grab your loop, pull it through to the front to close your popcorn. Okay, now we have plenty of space to work the rest of our stitches here. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to make a double crochet. And then if you've been following with this cowl, we've made puff stitches around the double crochet before, but if you haven't, this is what that looks like. We're gonna make a puff stitch around this double crochet, treating it like if it was a chain space. So I'm just gonna yarn over and insert my hook under this double crochet like it's a chain space, pull up a loop, and I'm only gonna do 3 passes, so that was 1 pass. I'm gonna do 2 more passes, and normally when I make a puff stitch, I like to do 4 passes, so my puff stitches are a little more full, But if you are using the color packs to work, like this is from the Katona color pack, if you're working with the 10-gram yarn balls, you are maybe will run out of yarn if you try to do 4 passes on your puffs. So if you're prone to running out of yarn on these motifs, then I would definitely recommend sticking with 3 passes on your puff stitches, so you'll have a little more extra yarn whenever you get to the end, the final round here. And it still looks pretty full with 3 passes. Okay, so I've made it 1 pass, and now I'm going to yarn over and start my hook and pull up a loop. There's 2 passes and the final one. And now I've got all my loops on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and draw the yarn through all the loops to finish my puff stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. If I can get it there. Okay, chain 1. All right, so that's how we look. It's kind of like a sideways puff stitch because it's on the double crochet. All right, so now I'm going to make another double crochet and do another puff stitch just like that one. 2, 3, and draw the yarn through all the loops and chain 1. Okay, I'm going to do that whole thing one more time. So we've got 3 puff stitches here. Okay, double crochet and make my puff stitch. All right, and draw the yarn through all the loops and chain 1. Okay, so now my puff stitches are finished, and if you feel like this space before is larger than the space after, you can add another chain, which I did in my instructions as well. And now we're gonna make a popcorn in this chain space. So it's gonna be popcorn and then your 3 puff stitches on the double crochet and then another popcorn. And just release your loop after you've made your 4 double crochet. Release your loop from the hook and insert the hook front to back through the first double crochet. Grab your loop, pull it to the front, and close your popcorn. Okay, so this is how your little decoration for your petals is going to look. And here's how it looks on the completed motif. So you can see kind of how the stitches are placed there. Then after I chain 1, I'm just gonna work all that same things in the next chain space. So popcorn, double crochet and puff stitch 3 times, and popcorn. And we'll show you how that looks after I'm finished with the round. Okay, so here is how my round looks before I've joined. And I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the first chain that's after this popcorn, because that's just how I feel joining to a popcorn looks the best. I like to work into the chain that's just right after the popcorn. So now my round is closed and I'm ready to work my next round. So luckily the next round is just chain spaces. So I'm gonna work straight into this chain space with a single crochet and then chain 3. In the next chain space, single crochet, chain 3, and again, single crochet, chain 3. And then in this last chain space, single crochet, but now I'm gonna chain 1. So when you go over the 2 popcorns in the middle, just chain 1. And that's how this is gonna look right here. And I'll show you how the rest of it looks once I'm finished. Okay, so my round is complete. I haven't joined yet, but I just wanted to make sure to say that when you do your 3 chain spaces here over the puffs, so each puff has a 3 chain space over it, over the 2 double crochet popcorns in the middle, you're just gonna have a chain 1, but you're skipping that middle chain. So you're just gonna go straight over the chain 1 in between the 2 popcorns and go into the next chain space to start your repeat again. All right, so now that you see the chain 1 is over the 2 popcorns and the chain 3s are each over a puff stitch. All right, so now I'm gonna close my round with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. And now the first thing that we're gonna do to start our next round is just 3 single crochet in each of these chain 3 spaces. All right, so I'll just go ahead and work 3 single crochet in each of these first chain 3 spaces. Okay, just like that. So that's how that's gonna look. And then where up to our chain 1 space. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna chain 1, and then I'm gonna make a popcorn into this chain 1 space. And I'm not gonna go into both chain spaces. I'm just gonna go into this top chain 1 space here with a popcorn. So make 4 double crochet in that chain 1 space. And then go ahead and release the loop, insert your hook through the first double crochet and pull the loop through to close the popcorn. Chain 1, and now we're into our repeat, just 3 single crochet in the next 3 chain spaces. All right, and so this is how our side's gonna look. This center chain space of the center single crochet of the 9 single crochets is the corner. So this is the center of the side, the popcorn right there. And on the next round, it's gonna start looking more like a hexagon, but for this, you kind of have to visualize the straight side here. So that's how your side's gonna look. Okay, that was our second to last round, and it's complete now, and I did go ahead and join with the slip stitch in the first single crochet. So it's looking very round still, but on the next round, it's gonna make it like a hexagon. So our next round is the last round, so it's only single crochet. So I'm just gonna make 3 single crochet all the way across here. So in the next, starting the next stitch, 1, and then 2, and then 3. And now I'm up to my corner single crochet. So I'm gonna make 3 singles in there. So 3 single crochet in that corner stitch. And then work across 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna make 8 altogether. So that was 4. I'm gonna make 1 into this chain space, that's 5. 1 into my popcorn, 6. And then 1 into my chain space again, 7. And then 1 into my next single crochet, and that's 8. And so that's your repeat. It's going to be 3 singles, and then 3 singles in 1 stitch, and then 8 singles. And then 3 singles in 1 stitch, and then 8 singles. So I'm just gonna finish my next 3 single crochet and then make my 3 single crochet all in the same stitch for my corner. All right, and basically you're just gonna work your next 11 stitches, 8 plus 3, all the way across, making sure to put 1 in each of these chain spaces and 1 in the popcorn as well. So here's how your side is gonna look, and you can already tell just from the first side that it's going to be a lot more like a hexagon once you're finished with this round. So I'll show you the completed one again so you can see how it looks. And I hope you've enjoyed this motif. This has been the Forget Me Not motif from the 2024 VVCAL, and I'll see you on the next one.